YouTube, it's Emma10 here with a deck update, and from the title you guys will already know what it is. Yes, finally, the Hieratic Dragons are 100% complete in real life, so I'm looking forward to getting this video done with you guys. I've made one or two more changes after I got the final card, which was Hieratic Seal from the Ashes, and I made one or two little changes based off some testing and from talking to my friends and everything, so I hope you guys enjoy the video. Just to make a note, this is a fun Hieratic build, because I noticed in my previous Hieratic build I got a lot of people asking me why am I not running the typical sort of meta-like cards which most Hieratic decks do. Well, the thing is that, guys, this isn't a meta deck, it's just a fun deck, so I'm trying to keep it pure and to the theme as possible. And I'll explain why I've chosen some cards over others and everything. So, as I said, hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. So, start off with 3 Hieratic Seal of the Sun Dragon Overlord, which is a level 8 light type normal dragon monster, 0 attack, 0 defense. But this is like the main focus of the main deck, at least, where get this card out as fast as you can and overlay into your rank 8 exceeds and so on and so forth. Then we have 3 Dragon of Eset, or 3 Hieratic Dragon of Isis, which is actually my favourite goddess in ancient Egyptian mythology. You can normal summon her, but doing so means her attack becomes 1000. Once per turn you can target a face-up normal dragon monster that's on the field, and all other Hieratic monsters become the same level, so that's great for loads of combos to get into level 8s and stuff, and 6s and everything. And of course, most of the Hieratic monsters have an effect where that when they're tributed they can special summon a dragon type normal monster from the hand, deck or graveyard to the field, but its attack and defense becomes 0, and Isis is one of them. Next we have 3 Hieratic Dragon of Nephbet, or Nephthys. You can special summon this card from your hand by tributing a Hieratic monster that you control. You can tribute another Hieratic monster except this card to target one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. And again, when that card is tributed, it can summon. When this card is tributed, it can summon out a dragon type normal monster from the hand, deck, or graveyard, and its attack and defense become 0. So she's sort of like, so far, as I said, Isis and Nephthys, and plus 2 other types which are coming up to in a moment, make up a basic Hieratic engine, which I will explain in full detail later on. Then we have 3 Hieratic Dragon of Tefnu. She's just basically the cyber dragon of the Hieratics. You know, your opponent controls a monster, you don't control any, you can special summon her from the hand. But she's got a side effect where she cannot attack the turn she activates that effect, and when she's tributed, again, she summons out a normal dragon type monster from the hand, deck or graveyard. And then we have 3 Hieratic Dragon of Su. This card can be special summoned from the hand by tributing a Hieratic monster, so it's very similar to Nephbet. And once per turn you can tribute one Hieratic monster except this card to target a spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. So it's sort of like it's very similar to Nephbet, but it targets spell and trap cards instead. And when this card is tributed, special summon a normal dragon type monster from the hand, deck or graveyard. Those 4 cards there, Isis, Nephbet, Tefnu and Su, make up what's called the Hieratic engine, and basically it mainly involves things like special summoning Tefnu or normal summoning Isis, and then tributing them off for multiple copies of Su or multiple copies of Nephbet, and therefore getting out multiple normal dragon type monsters which you can overlay and exceed with them once you've got them all out. So a basic engine, but pretty good and pretty effective. And then we've got another engine of the deck, which is 3 Hieratic of Geb. When this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon one dragon type normal monster from the hand, deck or graveyard and make its attack and defense 0. When this card is tributed, special summon one Hieratic normal monster from the hand, deck or graveyard. So it's got a slightly different effect from all the other cards in that when it's tributed itself, it only can summon a Hieratic normal monster, and of course you've got the Hieratic Seal of the Sun Dragon Overlord as the main target. As I said, that is the main focus of trying to get that out. Then we have 3 Hieratic Dragon of Newt. Once per turn during either player's turn, when this face-up card on the field is targeted by a spell card, trap card, or card effect, special summon a dragon-type normal monster from the hand, deck, or graveyard. Now, some people have asked me, why am I running Newt? Because obviously, only when she's targeted, you know, her effect goes off. Well, the thing is, there are loads of cards out there that can target. For example, equip spell cards target. So if I wanted to use any equip spells on her, her effect would go off to summon out something else. Or if she's targeted by commonly played cards such as what targets? Like Dimensional Prison. I'm not sure if that actually would work in a real ruling situation. Just post down in the comments below to correct me. But if she's targeted by something like Dimensional Prison or Fissure or something like that, then her effect would go off. I mean, it's a bit situational, but you know, I thought 3 would be better, because then that way I'm keeping with the theme. Then we have one Luster Dragon number 2, or Emerald Dragon in the Japanese, level 6 wind type normal monster. I know there's Watty Dragon, which is a light type level 6 normal monster with 25 attack, but I don't want to use it. I just don't like the look of the card. I prefer Emerald Dragon overall. I know it's not a light monster, but I think it's a prettier dragon to look at rather than Watty Dragon, to be honest. Then we have one Honest, since pretty much everything else in the deck is light types, just for attack boosts, game ender, that sort of thing. Then we have 2 Hieratic Seal of Convocation to add Hieratic monsters to the hand. And then we have 3 Hieratic Seal of Supremacy, which special summons Hieratics from the hand. Now, again, I'm going to mention I'm not using Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, because I said this is just a fun build, it's not a meta build. I don't want to use Red Eyes Darkness in this deck because I'm trying to keep this as close to the Hieratic theme as I can. Next, we have the staples of Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, 3 Mystical Space Typhoon. I know there are quite a few Hieratic builds out there that utilise the power of Forbidden Lance and everything, but with Forbidden Lance becoming a slightly harder to get now and a bit more expensive, I can't really afford 3 Forbidden Lance, to be honest. So I think 3 MST is a good alternative, at least, because yes, it does get rid of back row and everything. And then we have 1 Dragon's Mirror, and you'll see why. This was actually suggested to put in the deck because even though this deck is okay on itself, I'm still getting used to it and everything. It's good to have my friends in that said it's good to have that card as a backup just in case, which I'll explain in a bit. Then we have 2 Hieratic Seal of Reflection. Basically, this is just a solemn warning for the Hieratics when you tribute a Hieratic to activate its effect. And of course, when you tribute a Hieratic, most of the time their effects will go off, so you get your special summon of the normal dragon type monster. And then we have 3 Hieratic Seal from the Ashes, which again, as I explained, in my opinion, is a foolish burial from a different dimension, and a monster born all in one. Once per turn during your opponent's turn, you can send a Hieratic monster to the graveyard. During your own turn, you can target one of your banished Hieratic monsters and return it to the graveyard. And when this face-up card on the field is destroyed, target a Hieratic monster in the graveyard and special summon it. So in other words, if someone tries to MST this face down card, I can chain it, and because it's face up during the chain, it gets this effect of special summoning a Hieratic monster from the graveyard. Or if I need to send something to the grave during the opponent's turn, just in case they do decide to obviously play Heavy Storm or MST or something, then I can play that on their turn, send something to the graveyard, and I've got a target ready for that face up card to go. And for the banished, I'm not, as I said, apart from Dragon's Mirror, I'm not using any Hieratic monsters that do banish. That's like Sutek and Azir, because I found it very, very difficult to build a decent deck build with those 2 cards included. So I've just gone for what I'm comfortable with and what doesn't rely too much on the banish aspect. We're now onto the extra deck now, and we're going to start off with 2 Hieratic King of Atum. I would play 3 if I could, but sad thing is I can't get a third one. This card is really, really difficult to get, and it is still very expensive. I mean, there are quite a few Chaos Dragon players or just meta dragon players in general who use 1 or 2 copies of these cards with some builds, but this card is really hard to get and very hard to trade for. So I'm just running 2 at the moment. If I can ever get a 3rd one, I'll put it in, but for the moment I can't. Then we have 3 Hieratic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. It's a rank 8, needs 2 level 8 monsters to get into. Once per turn you can detach 1 XYZ material from this card and tribute any number of monsters from the hand and or your side of the field, minimum of 1, and then destroy an equal number of cards in the field. So very good selective destruction. Main focus of the deck is to try and get this guy out in the field as fast as possible, and of course if you have lots of Hieratics on the field you can tribute them off via this card's effect, and then you can obviously destroy an equal number of cards, and you get the other Hieratics effects going off where they can special summon back more normal dragon monsters for you to exceed with or synchro with, or whatever happens to go. And finally, for the extra deck, we have 1 5-headed dragon. Now, as I said, discussing with my friends, it was decided it would be best to put at least one of those in as a backup, because even though this deck does alright, I mean, obviously you've seen from some duel videos, I'm still trying to get used to the deck because there's so many combos and strategies with this deck. It's difficult trying to get around them. It's a good backup just in case I ever do need to get a beat stick on the field, or win a game, or get myself out of a situation basically. And because Dragon's Mirror is a banish aspect, the Hieratic Seal from the Ashes can help that way if I decide to keep 1 or 2 back in case I ever do use Dragon's Mirror. And besides, with the Hieratics, they will fill up the graveyard pretty quickly, so nothing wrong with getting out a 5-headed dragon. I just won't use it in my Blue Eyes deck because I just don't want to use it in my Blue Eyes deck. But for the Hieratics, I'm okay with using it because it's just a very good backup, I believe. Anyway guys, that's it for this deck video. Hope you enjoyed. As I said, we've been waiting a long time for this. I've been waiting a long time for this deck to get finished. But we'll probably see this in real life duels very, very soon. I plan to have a couple of Skype duels with this deck, hopefully, so you can actually see it in action, except for it just being on Duel Network. So anyway, thanks very much for watching guys. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye!